Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Gamer Guild Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things in the wide world of video games. I'm your co-host, Cody Robertson.
And I'm your co-host, Noah Bowers. This week, we talk about all the latest juicy Nintendo content, and will we finally hear Link's voice in 2027?
Well, I hope not, Noah. That's right. We'll cover all this and more right here on the Gamer Guild Podcast. We got no guest this week because there's just not enough room. We got too much news to talk about. Too much. And we were afraid we were going to talk over somebody, quite honestly. So this is our pre-spring break special. Here we go. So let's get right into some of the new releases that came out. Two of these, both of these games came out the day we recorded last week, so I didn't quite get a chance to talk about them, so we're just going to hit on them real quick. Atomfall came out Thursday, March 27th. That's on everything minus the Switch. It's by Rebellion Developments, also published by Rebellion Developments, by the way, so it's a true indie game. Nice. So good job, Rebellion Developments. Awesome to see that. It's a post-apocalyptic survival first-person shooter game. The Rebellion Developments, if you don't know, made the Sniper Elite series, so that's kind of what they're famous for these days. They made some other games. I think they made some arcade games and stuff back in the day.
Okay.
But they're most known for the Sniper Elite series, which is pretty good. It's got a 75 on Metacritic. And it's, like I said, it's kind of a survival FPS. People have been comparing it to like Fallout. It's got that kind of post-apocalyptic nuclear Fallout vibe, forgive the pun. But yeah, Noah, you've checked out some of the gameplay, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I've checked out the gameplay. It's definitely interesting. They're taking it a little bit of a different approach. It is like an open world RPG, so they are going to compare it to like Bethesda games and Fallout. And while yes, it's in kind of like a nuclear disaster post-apocalypse, it has a little bit of a different formula with the way their quest system works. So it's not just like a checklist that you have to go do. It's kind of a little bit more interactive than that, where like you have to explore and like find pieces to the like mystery or puzzle. It's the main quest line is basically a mystery that you're solving rather than like a goal that you're trying to like achieve.
Interesting.
So it looks pretty good. I've definitely checked out the gameplay. We were talking about it a little bit before the podcast. My only gripe about it is it's very British. So it's British humor is in there, a lot of British slang and things like that. Everybody's British because it's set in 1960s alternate history.
Does Stephen Fry make a cameo?
I don't know.
Well, it's not British if Stephen Fry doesn't make a cameo. That's the rule.
It's true. It is on Game Pass. So for those that are interested in checking it out, if you have it on PC or Xbox, it's on Game Pass. Feel free to check it out. I'm actually playing through Sniper Elite Resistance as well with one of my buddies. I didn't realize that it was the same development studio. That completely slipped my mind.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
It looks very well polished. It's just, in my opinion, it looks a little bland in terms of the visual creative direction, but in terms of narrative, they're definitely doing some interesting stuff with like the dialogue choices and things like that. So if you're a fan of like open world RPGs, you're looking for a new post-apocalyptic world to explore, I'd say definitely check this one out. It looks really well polished.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And I was telling you, it kind of gave me the same vibe as that game, Atomic Heart, that came out a couple years ago. Kind of the same, like, I got the same like kind of silly type Fallout humor sort of thing, but I also am not super well versed in that game. So
I think this one's probably a little bit more serious.
Really?
Atomic Heart was a little bit of like a satire.
Yeah, it seemed a little silly, BioShocky type humor.
This one's definitely like, people are dying. Also, it's like a totalitarian regime now in the like affected area. So like, I think there's like not necessarily a crime or reputation system, but if you do things that like the regime doesn't like it will definitely affect the story and your character.
Wow. Okay.
That you're like exploring in. So, and there's different factions and stuff in there as well. So classic RPG stuff. But cool. It's a little more serious in terms of like,
sounds like
how their plot is going.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Sounds pretty different. Sounds cool though.
Yeah.
It's something I might be into. Pretty cool. So check it out if you're into that. If you're into first-person shooter survival games that are post-apocalyptic and have some RPG elements in there too. Pretty fun. All right, next game we're going to talk about here, First Berserker Kazan came out also Thursday, March 27th on everything but the Switch. Came out from a development company called Neople, Neople. Never heard of them before. I haven't heard of them. This is, I think, their first kind of big title. It's a Souls-like action RPG. They developed a game called Dungeon Fighter Online, which I don't really know anything about, to be honest with you. This is the first I'm hearing of it, but they have developed it. So there you go. They're not a new development company. First Berserker Kazan has a 79 on Metacritic. Looks pretty cool. All these Souls-likes, they kind of blend together for me, to be honest. Unless it's made by a company called From Software, it's probably not going to get a whole lot of attention from me.
Foreshadowing.
Well, yeah. There you go. Have you seen anything about this at all? I know they did a lot of they did pretty big social media.
Yeah, they did.
Marketing
I think,
blitz.
Didn't we see this during the Game Awards? Wasn't this one of the games that announced? I thought it was, but I don't know too much about it. Like everybody knows, I'm not really a Souls-like player myself, and this one kind of just looks like very similar in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If I was to play a Souls-like game right now, it would probably be Lies of P, especially with Overture coming out here in the summer. That one looks really, really fun. Love that aesthetic as well, with the way they're kind of manipulating the Pinocchio folktale. Yeah, really cool stuff there. This one just seems a little bit more classic, Japanese action sci-fi or action fantasy type deal.
It is, I believe, an established universe, but I'm not sure what.
First Berserker?
Yeah, I think it's the Pelos Empire. Okay, whatever that is. I think it's part of a bigger universe.
Oh, okay.
But I don't really know a whole lot about First Berserker Kazan. I have seen some gameplay. It's got an interesting art style. It's really not what you would think in a Souls-like. It's just a little more cartoony. There's sort of bolder outlines that define the shapes.
Interesting.
It's almost cell shaded, but it's not. It's just the outlines are just a little bit bolder, and it looks pretty cool. Yeah, if you see some gameplay, it looks pretty interesting. But yeah, people seem to like it. It's got a 79 on Metacritic, like I said. So if you're into Souls-like games and you don't necessarily want to play a FromSoft one, go ahead and give First Berserker Kazan a try. It's on everything but the Switch, so check it out. All right, that's all we have for the new releases so far. All right, let's get into the news that came out over the past week. Here's news story number one. If you didn't hear, a Legend of Zelda live-action movie is in the works. It was announced a couple years ago. It was rumored for a long time, but it was officially announced by Nintendo a couple years ago. No other news has come out since, except for the producer, Avi Arad, and the director, Wes Ball. No cast or anything like that. And we just got a release date last week for March 2027. So there you go. March 2027 release date. Now, I will say this. Since they haven't cast anyone, that release date means nothing at all.
Well, I don't think the script's done.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's done.
They just bought that release window. That's usually how movie production studios go. You buy the release window ahead of time, and then you make the movie.
Interesting.
So it also gives yourself a deadline, basically. And then if you need to delay it, you can. But the same thing, Christopher Nolan did that with the Odyssey. Warner Brothers already has a release date for that, even though it's not finished post-production or anything like that. So that's kind of par for the course.
Interesting.
And we got more information about this after the rumors, pretty much after the success of the Super Mario movie, animated by Illumination Entertainment. I thought they did a pretty decent job with that one.
Indeed.
It was a good little fan service movie, but had some meat to it as well.
Yeah, it's on streaming now too, if you want to check it out.
So it's interesting that was a success, obviously. Animated, designed for a younger demographic and maybe some nostalgia for the older generation. But this one is a live action.
Yep.
So I have some thoughts on this.
Co-financed by Sony, which is really interesting.
Yes.
Sony, their rival in the video game industry.
Yeah, it's a weird combination. I wonder if it's because, in their opinion, they think that Sony has done the best job with video game adaptations so far.
That could be true. Live action ones, yeah.
Last of Us being their most prime example.
And hey, they got the Spider-Verse in the animated feature films, yeah.
That's my guess, especially because Last of Us Season 2, by the way, is dropping, I think, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, really soon.
So we'll stay tuned for that. So I have some thoughts. First thing for Avi Arad. Pretty bad. Yeah. Pretty bad track record, unfortunately. If you go look at the IMDb page.
And you know what sucks? We owe Avi Arad so much because he's the reason Spider-Man and Blade and things like that exist. but he's also the reason Spider-Man 3 exists and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 exists.
And Madam Web.
Madam Web, and Morbius.
Morbius,
and
Craven.
Memebius. Yeah. It's like, oh, dude.
So that's all Aviara. Now, producing is difficult because I don't think they have that much control on the end product unless they're like being given like total creative control.
My impression was this was a partnership, like a split partnership.
Yeah.
But just for the movie, obviously.
And then we have the director.
Yeah,
so
Wes
we
Ball.
have Wes Ball. Interesting character for this one because Wes Ball, he did the Maze Runner trilogy.
Yeah.
And they were a little hit or miss for me.
Well, I think it's a good concept to continue maybe trying to do a Zelda film from Maze Runner. It's kind of got that same demographic. So I think that's maybe a good translation. But then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I actually didn't see it. Did you see it?
I did.
Okay.
And I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan as well, by the way. It's one of my favorite sci-fi franchises.
Nice.
And it was just okay.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. Visual effects, they partnered with Weta Digital for that one, who are basically the masters when it comes to visual effects in the movie industry right now. Did a great job. Apes looked great. The world looked really cool. The plot I thought was just a little safe. We've kind of seen it before, especially after the conclusion of the War for the Planet of the Apes. Why am I forgetting the director's name? Matt Reeves. The Matt Reeves directed trilogy that starred... I'm forgetting his name.
Well, Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, thank you. It starred Andy Serkis. That whole Caesar character arc by the end of it was, just phenomenal storytelling. It was so good. So I didn't anticipate that this would be on that same level, and it wasn't. It was more classic summer movie blockbuster.
Sure.
And that's because Matt Reeves didn't want to return for this one because he's doing the Batman Part 2. And so they're like, all right, we'll just go with a different director. So Wes Ball, in my opinion, he's like a 7 out of 10 director.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Interesting to note, though, before he did his feature films with The Maze Runner, that was his debut as like feature film director, he did a short film that was a fully animated short film. I don't know if you know this or not. You can look it up. I'm forgetting the name, but it's about like a little mouse. It's a fantasy like short film that he animated with a little mouse, and he's going in and like exploring a world, very Zelda-esque.
Really?
Yes. He also did like a sci-fi animated short film as well. So
Ruin is the sci-fi one, I think.
That's the sci-fi one.
A Work in Progress. Is that the mouse one?
I might be.
8-minute film.
And so those were kind of like proof of concepts for like his like visual aesthetic. You can see it very heavily in the Maze Runner series, the way that they've designed like the walls in the Maze Runner, very similar to that like Ruin sci-fi short film. And so it's curious to me because both of those things are like, he started with animated projects.
Yeah.
He's very big on visual effects, as you could see with like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes as well.
Sure.
That was well directed for a visual effects heavy movie. They made all of those digital characters feel very, very real. Which is interesting when you go to The Legend of Zelda being live action specifically, because whenever you call it an animated movie, you're probably going to think of like the Illumination Entertainment where it's like completely 3D animated, or a Spider-Verse like movie where it's 2D animated.
A lot of people said Ghibli for Zelda. Which
ambitious.
It would never happen, but it would be cool. It'd be cool.
It'd be very cool. So yes, this is a live action Legend of Zelda movie, but I think it's going to be basically similar to a Kingdom of Planet of the Apes or even like an Avatar production where many of the characters and or world that we're seeing is pretty much just visual effects, 3D designs or Unreal Engine type stuff where it's photorealistic, but it's basically animated. They just don't call it an animated movie because it does have live action elements.
So you're saying it's going to have so much CGI that it's basically going to be an animated movie?
Probably.
Okay,
that's what it looks like, especially with Wes Ball directing it and the way that you would need to adapt a Zelda movie. It's not going to be like a Lord of the Rings live action film. It's going to, in my opinion,
I don't think so either.
It's going to be like a Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
No. You know, okay. Now that we've discussed that a little bit, what do you actually want this to be? Like, what would you want out of this? Because, you know, a lot of us like me don't want this.
Yeah.
Like at all. I don't think it'll work at all. I have maybe one idea, but what do you think, Noah?
My dream live like Legend of Zelda movie would be like a Wind Waker Toon style animated series.
Nice. Okay.
That would be my dream.
I think a lot of people would kind of discount that.
Yeah. I think the art style lends itself to that very, very well. I think it'd be really cool. And that world is one where you could do a lot of kind of like those like mini stories to tell a grand story.
I was just talking about Ghibli. That would translate really well to a Ghibli style, you know.
For
Even
sure.
the soundtrack in Wind Waker is
Beautiful.
such a Ghibli movie soundtrack, dude.
Oh.
Man, so awesome. Yeah, good idea.
That would be my go-to.
Yeah, so. I think a lot of people on the internet say, oh, a Ghibli animated or, you know, in that style would look so good, Legend of Zelda. I agree. But like I said, that's a pretty big reach. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Ghibli's going to work with Nintendo. Just, I don't know.
No, probably not.
Yeah, just don't see it happening.
They just, not necessarily because I don't think they don't like Nintendo or anything like that, but they're true creatives.
Yeah, they do their own thing.
Yeah, they love their original IPs, their original stories and things like that. So being tied to a franchise that already has so much preconceived expectations and storylines and characters, they would be like, yeah, no way.
Yeah.
So
too much.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's what I think should happen in a Legend of Zelda movie. And I may have talked to you a little bit about this before, Noah, and it's kind of a hot take.
Okay.
I don't think Link should be in it at all. I don't think Link should be cast in it. Because if you played any of the games, you know Link doesn't talk. So that's like a huge issue with casting this character, right? How are we going to get around this? You either A, have to have him talk in the movie, which is going to make a lot of people mad no matter what you do, because it's not what happens in the games. Or two, you don't have him talk at all, and you just cast a character and he doesn't talk. And
silent protagonist.
It's
been done before in films.
I mean, I could see it happening. Here's the thing I think should happen. Link's not in the movie at all, and Link is just a concept. And
like
he's
a myth.
Yeah, he's a myth that people of Hyrule like look up to, you know? Maybe he's cast as a character and we see him in flashbacks.
Right.
Then he doesn't have to talk.
Right, exactly.
There you go. That solves that problem. I mean, think about it, guys. I know it's hard to like imagine Link not being in a Zelda movie, but if you focus it on Zelda and maybe Zelda's trying to do something to fix the kingdom and, you know, a link to the past, right? Link is in the past trying to tell her something, kind of like how we see in the games all the time, some sort of time communication. We see that.
Yep.
That might work. So I think that's maybe the only way it'll work, to be quite honest. I think a Wind Waker story would be really cool, but I don't know. Do you think they'd adapt a game, like a specific game?
No, this is going to be completely original for sure. I highly doubt that they're going to try and adapt a specific
I think it's
titles.
too much of a task.
Yeah. Because all those plot lines were designed for a game.
Yes.
This is going to be designed for a movie. I like the idea of having it be a myth. My dream for like a live action Legend of Zelda movie, if you're going to do it like fully live action, would be like a Sheikah origin story type deal.
Yeah.
So you're like dealing with the tribe of the Sheikah.
Or you could have in Ocarina of Time, when Zelda goes into hiding and becomes Sheik.
Exactly.
That'd be pretty cool.
Exactly. And so I think that would be an interesting little story. And then like at the end, you have like the little like post credits and you're like, we need a little more help. And that's when like you see Link in his like green like
Master
tunic
sword.
and everything. Yeah.
Or Navi comes out. She's hey, listen. No. Everyone would get so mad.
Give me Fi from Skyward Sword.
I gotta take 5. Sure.
I have a soft spot for Fi.
Calm down, Noah.
Sorry, she was a cool character.
Yeah. I got Navi, so there you go.
There you go.
I'm cautiously.
Imagine they do Majora's Mask.
Never. It'd be a horror movie.
Yeah.
Eli Roth directing.
Yeah. It's just it's like super R-rated.
It'd be more like an M. Night movie, actually.
Don't get me started.
Oh, geez. Yep. So there you go. That's the Legend of Zelda live action movie. It's coming out March 2027. That's what we hear so far, but that might change. We'll see. So there we go.
Interesting.
I'm excited to hear more. A lot of people are saying Tom Holland and Zendaya as Link and Zelda. Please no. Please don't do that.
No.
I swear, I will never buy a Zelda game ever again.
Yeah, you will.
If you did, yeah,
you will.
I'm a liar. I'm a liar.
No, I doubt that that's going to be the casting. I would like if we maybe saw unknown actors for this one.
100%.
But Nintendo has the money, as we saw with the Super Mario Brothers movie, that they're probably not going to do that.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is the one where maybe they can try, but it's also...
I mean, even Sony didn't do it. You go to
exactly. That's what I was going to say.
You go to Last of Us, Pedro Pascal. I mean, bro is the most booked and busy actor right now.
Yeah, And also, Avi Arad's the producer, probably going to get a big name. So there you go.
Yeah. So,
there you go. Legend of Zelda live action movie. We spent a lot of time talking about it, so I'm going to shut up now and move on to the next thing. All right. Here's the next big piece of news. Ubisoft has created a new subsidiary. So they've actually spun off into, excuse me, let me rephrase. They haven't spun off into a new company. Ubisoft has created a new company specifically for Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, for those 3 IPs. So basically they're big money-making video game IPs is what they're doing. Here's the big kicker. It's valued at $4 billion. The game company Tencent has invested $1.16 billion for a 25% stake into that company. So they don't own 25% of Ubisoft, but they do own 25% of this new company that Ubisoft has formed with them. So here's another example of Tencent budging their way into the video game industry once again. So Noah, how do we feel?
It's interesting for sure. I think this is a kind of a desperation move from Ubisoft. As we've seen, they've kind of been really struggling to hit their goals, and they've had layoffs and things like that. So I think they were just looking for some type of venture capital basically to come in and keep them afloat.
Tencent has the money.
Oh, for sure. So this is also interesting from an esports perspective because as you're aware, we're under security exemptions and things like that because we're not allowed to have Chinese controlled software on our state-owned devices and things like that. So Riot is currently under that because Tencent. Well, now Rainbow Six Siege would potentially fall under that category as well.
How's that going to work?
They're technically not a majority owner, but they're a partial owner of a subsidiary that now controls the Rainbow Six franchise.
I think that depends on where the actual servers are located for the game. So I'm not sure what the implications would be because I don't know where the servers are for Rainbow Six. That's a good question, actually. We'll find out in a minute. I'm kind of with you, I
guess this means the Ghost Recon and the Division is not included in that?
It's not.
Interesting.
So, it's just those 3. So it's not all of Tom Clancy. It's just Rainbow Six. Not Ghost Recon, the one I always get confused. I'll say this. Generally speaking, I don't like Tencent because they do some pretty consumer unfriendly business practices and they kind of prioritize microtransactions a lot in the companies that they take over. We've actually seen it in Ubisoft quite a bit. They've definitely pushed microtransactions in their single player games. So I don't really like Tencent because of that. But as far as Ubisoft goes, this might be a good thing for them because they were really struggling hard. I think they got a little bit of a win with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I think maybe now this might be good for these 3 franchises.
I wonder if that's probably why they were able to get the deal done.
Yeah, because it was successful. Yep. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And so Tencent's like, oh, look at our value. So that's probably what happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a little bit of a nothing burger because it just happened. So we don't know exactly what the implications of this is going to be in the future, but it happened.
Yeah. All we know is the name of the company that owns 25%. That's it. So and that's all we're talking about.
Yep.
All right, there we go. That's all for that. Speaking of big companies that we don't really like, GameStop is closing more stores.
I used to like them.
They shut down Game Informer, Noah. Anyway.
It's true. It's true.
GameStop has announced they're closing more stores for 2025, which really sucks because they already shut down 1,000 locations last year, which I did not believe. I didn't think that was a real number. It's real. They shut down 1,000 locations last year. Yeah, from CNN. They also announced they're going to increase their cryptocurrency investments, which we just love to see.
What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, so people are kind of confused about GameStop right now. Kind of looks like it's not going well for GameStop. I'll say this about GameStop. The only reason I had a pro membership was for Game Informer. Now it's not owned by GameStop anymore. So
now we can just give our money directly to Game Informer.
Yeah. Which, by the way, go to Game Informer's website and sign up for an account for free. They'll tell you, they haven't announced it yet, how to subscribe. They haven't figured it out yet, but they're going to send you an email once that comes out. So
my guess is they're still planning the model that they want to go for, like the price points and things. But yeah, I think you still get free rewards already if you just sign up for a free account. Yeah. I think you already get access to some stuff.
I already had one from GameStop Pro. If you had one, it transfers over. So it'll prompt you to make a new password and stuff. But all your stuff transfers over. It's pretty cool. So since we like Game Informer and don't like GameStop, let's talk about what do we think we want out of a Game Informer subscription? Because I was thinking about this earlier. I would like to see them do like a Patreon model, like a modern, kind of a more modern content content creator type model, maybe we see you get a subscription and you get to see like the sausage being made, that kind of thing. Maybe you see them do some gameplay, that kind of thing. And
I would love to see virtual or filmed interviews.
Sure. Yeah. That'd be really good.
With people in the industry.
I'd pay for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think that'd be really cool. Me personally, I do like more like, video formats. I love video game writing as well, especially with, their art design team and things like that. But I think maybe diving into the video space, not doing like IGN like video game reviews, because I think they're above that. Because they already have their like article reviews that are really well done.
Video reviews, but yeah.
Yeah, I
do both.
I want to do more like documentary style, like behind the scenes.
I think that's what Game Informer is all about.
Right.
It's kind of revering the art is what Game Informer was, So that's why we like it.
There's a shout out to a channel out there called No Clip Studios. They do similar style like documentary behind the scenes footage of like game development and game studios for like these really small or maybe obscure indie studios.
Nice.
Highly recommend checking them out. That would be the format that I would love to see from like a paywall behind Game Informer, is like they go behind, because they have enough of a brand where No Clip Studios is kind of a smaller thing. It's a amateur run studio, but it's really professional executed videos. I think Game Informer, they have the brand, they have the connections that they would be able to get behind the scenes of like, Bethesda style games, go behind the scenes of, these Activision titles. Like what was the development cycle for this latest Call of Duty looking like? Like that would be super, super cool.
Yeah.
Love to see that.
Yeah. The stuff we don't normally get to see,
right.
And the stuff that we should see as consumers. Video games are so secretive, I think. And
I don't know if we necessarily should. It's almost like,
there's got to be some sort of secrecy to art, I understand.
Right.
But I think video games have had this really bad symptom of being so secretive, and now there's no trust, which we'll talk about in just a minute, too.
Yes.
But I think we need to sow some of that trust back a little bit, and maybe companies need to be a little more transparent. Maybe Game Informer would be a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Game Informer coming back. So
I like that.
How much would you pay for a subscription? Just what's your max?
Like $10 a month.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I would go max 15, but you better be giving me some really cool stuff for $15 a month, I
better be getting merch.
Yeah,
15.
merch or like a exclusive interview a month or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think, that'd be pretty cool, because I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be informed on the game.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, $10. Oh, also, digital wallpapers. If you're like from the cover artists, make like mobile and desktop wallpaper like designs like monthly.
Love it.
Would love that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Would love that.
They already did the fan art thing every month.
Okay.
That could translate pretty well too. Like digital fan art would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, and then you made NFTs. No. Whoa. He went too far. And then getting GameStop flashbacks.
That would be something I really, or even like prints too. So you just get like the art itself. And you can bring that to like cons and get them signed and things like that.
That'd be cool. They did announce they're bringing print, the magazine back. So that's cool. Right. They will have the print magazine. I'm definitely getting the print magazine
for sure.
Awesome. So I can frame it the next time they shut down.
Rip.
Please don't. Don't do it. Don't scare me next time. All right.
And then I think before we get into the big main event, I want to talk about what my potential source is telling me.
What's your plumbing news?
So this is coming through the leaks right here. This is from one of my trusted sources. And I verified it through some of their sources as well. From what I can tell, this is almost confirmed.
Okay.
As in, there will probably be press about it in this year.
Okay.
I believe Titanfall 3 is confirmed and potentially in development, planned to release next year.
That's a big scoop.
I know. But this dropped this morning. 9:36 a.m. from a very well-known Game Informer reporter that I follow, who also touches on leaks and things like that, was confirmed on all their Nintendo Switch 2 information that I got from them, as well as some of the leaks we got for the Xbox handheld.
Mm-hmm.
So
those are both right. Yeah.
They were both correct and they were both valid. And there is now a rumor that Titanfall 3 is happening and potential release next year, 2026. And if that's true, I'm a happy camper. I love me some mech games.
Okay, here's an interesting point too. On top of that, Respawn canceled its multiplayer FPS a month ago.
Yes.
Interesting timing, Noah. Okay. I would love Titanfall 3, dude. Oh my goodness. Were you a Titanfall guy? Did you play Titanfall?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Titanfall,
okay.
I didn't play the first one because that was an Xbox exclusive. And
That's
I didn't
true.
have
I
it.
forgot about that, yeah.
Titanfall 2, cross-platform. So I played tons of Titanfall 2.
Yeah, I played on
obviously,
PS4.
I'm a huge Apex guy as well. I also have a rumor of when it will be announced.
Ooh, okay.
Titanfall 3 will be announced at the Game Awards at the earliest, and then officially released next year, 2026. That's the scoop.
That's a long time. Okay, wow.
That's the scoop.
The Game Awards 2025, the big one, the Jeff Healy one?
TGA,
Okay,
yep.
TGA. So TGA 2025, hold Noah to it. Titanfall 3
Clip
announcement.
this right now, chat.
At its earliest is what we said.
At its earliest
it'll be the Game
is what
Awards.
the source says, because it's planned to release next year.
Oh, next year?
Yep.
Oh, dude, I would be so excited if that happens. Give me a grappling hook again,
Gamer
man.
Guild exclusive.
Nice. Awesome.
Love to see it.
I would love to see Titanfall 3.
I would love it. I would love it.
Do you want BT to come back or something else?
No, we can do something new.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
do
else.
something new.
Let's do something
His arc was done pretty well.
Good. It was good.
Loved the campaign as
Yeah.
well, but the multiplayer was also, it was just such a great game.
I really liked the
Respawn.
multiplayer. Yeah, it was really good.
So yeah.
And you know, I'm not really a battle royale guy, so I didn't really jive with Apex. So this would be really good for me.
Yeah, and Apex, I think it has more casual modes now as well. Like it has TDM, it has like gun game and things like that. So you don't have to play the battle royale, but obviously that's the main draw of it.
Right.
Speaking of which, I'm going to ALGS in New Orleans in May.
Nice.
Very excited for that.
Oh,
ALGS
yeah.
Open. Like 160 international teams are competing in that.
Whoa.
It's like a 4-day tournament.
Nice.
Huge. Can't wait.
Awesome. Good stuff.
But yeah, let's dive into the meat
right.
of the episode, shall we?
Okay, everybody. Here's the big one. All right. We had a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct yesterday. It just happened, and we got a ton of news about the new Nintendo Switch console. So it's called the Nintendo Switch 2. We already knew that. I'm going to get into the hard specs first, just the facts. Then we're going to get into what we liked about the Direct, and then we're going to get into what we didn't like about the Direct. Okay. Because hold on to your hats, everyone. There's a lot that happened in this Direct. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the Switch 2, let's talk about it. The screen is 7.9 inches, so it's bigger than the Switch 1.
Average.
Right. It's not OLED. It is LCD. LCD. It's an LCD. Anyway, it's 1080p screen. It's got 4K HDR when docked. But obviously that's only for certain games that support that kind of thing. It has 256 gigs of storage. Gee. Old micro SD cards that worked on the Switch will not work on the Switch 2. You're going to have to get new micro SD cards. I'm talking specifically about the ones that were for the Switch. You can still use I think a micro XD for the Switch 2.
Interesting.
The new Joy-Cons are magnetic. They look pretty good, I think. So they don't slide in anymore. They snap, and they're supposed to be a little firmer, but we won't know until we actually get our hands on it. So we'll see about that.
Larger sticks on them as well.
Larger sticks, that's right. They didn't say anything about the installation of the sticks, which is interesting, which leads me to believe they did not fix the drift situation. Maybe. So, but we'll see about that.
Bigger trigger buttons as well.
Bigger trigger buttons. And speaking of the trigger buttons, it has mouse controls.
Yes,
so you use the trigger buttons as a clicker, and you can actually use it like it has a trackpad or something. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. And they actually show some gameplay of Civ 7 and using the mouse. So I was like, okay, that's pretty nice. MSRP. So retail price is going to be $449. That's not terrible, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to come with a new Mario Kart game called Mario Kart World. That bundle is going to cost $500. So you'll get the Mario Kart game for $50. Now, here's some of the games that were announced.
Yes.
So like I said, Mario Kart World, new Mario Kart game, looks really cool.
Does. And that's dropping day of Switch release as well.
Day of the Switch release, which I didn't mention, is releasing June 5th, 2025.
Woo.
And pre-orders are going to be open April 9th. So next Wednesday.
Oh, wait, really?
Yes,
wow.
April 9th. I've only seen Best Buy have a pre-order link. I have not seen anything from Amazon.
No GameStop?
I haven't seen GameStop. I'm sure it's got to be there. But the guy I follow on Twitter that I get all my consoles from, I've gotten every console from this guy. He's like kind of pre-sent out the links, and it's just for Best Buy.
Interesting.
So we'll see. So yeah, Best Buy pre-orders are April 9th. So I'll be there. But yeah, $449 for just the console, $500 for the Mario Kart World bundle. And I think it comes with a digital copy of Mario Kart World, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
All right. Mario Kart World, that was announced. New Mario Kart game. What did you think about that announcement, Noah?
I watched the trailer for it and the gameplay. Looked pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, actually.
Big. I think it's a big jump in the iteration of it.
Yeah.
Because now it's like an open world racing game, almost similar to like the Crew type deal, where you can drive from
Forza
race to
Horizon,
race.
sort of.
Yeah.
I got those vibes. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. A lot more online casual capabilities.
Yes.
You don't have to actually be in a race to be like with your friends. I like that a lot.
For sure.
That's a good thing to have, like an online hub. That's, kind of what people expect these days from games like this. So that's good. I thought the game itself looked good. I thought it looked smooth, but these things always do when they play trailers. Online capability was showcased. A webcam was showcased.
Yeah, because now it has two USB-C ports.
It has two USB-C ports. Forgot to mention that. Thank you.
New stand as well.
A new stand, a little bit sturdier.
Yep.
And yeah, it comes with it doesn't come with it, excuse me. It has a USB camera, a USB webcam that's going to cost $50. That's on this big, ugly stand.
It's huge.
It looks like a Wii accessory, honestly.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It's like this big, costs $50, and it is a terribly, terrible resolution webcam. Or at least it looks like it. It did not look good in the video. So that's happening.
Speaking of accessories, new GameCube controller announced.
Yes, new GameCube controller.
That was pretty,
because GameCube games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online. That's another thing. So that's a good thing.
That was pretty cool.
3 games are coming so far. The Wind Waker. Congratulations, Noah. Good for you. Soul Calibur 2.
Wild.
That's
wild,
dude. Listen to me. That's legitimately one of the greatest fighting games of all time. I believe it. It's so good. It is so good. And it has Link. It's so good. Oh my goodness. I liked the Xbox version though because it had Spawn. So I'm a little sad.
I think the PlayStation version had like The Witcher.
It had Heihachi.
Yeah.
Soul Calibur 2 had Heihachi. Soul Calibur 6 had Geralt.
That's what I was thinking of.
But that was cross-platform. Back in the day, Soul Calibur was whatever platform it was on, it'd have a different character. So I think Soul Calibur 4, the Xbox had Yoda, and the PlayStation had Darth Vader. Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty cool.
That's sick.
And so in Soul Calibur 2, on the GameCube, you had Link. On the Xbox, you had Spawn from like the comics, and then on the PlayStation, you had Heihachi from Tekken. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, but I love Soul Calibur 2, one of the greatest fighting games of all time. Really, really cool. And then what was the other GameCube game? I'm totally forgetting right now. It was Wind Waker, and then Soul Calibur 2. Man, oh man.
While you're looking it up, they also announced new Switch Pro controller. Has back buttons on it included. Pretty cool, especially since you're calling it a Pro controller. Most Pro controllers have like some customizable.
Yeah, mappable.
Like
Finally, they're doing, which we'll get into why Nintendo's behind in a minute. But the next game is F-Zero GX, which is which is an awesome game if you've never played it. It's got a story mode, which is cool. And so if you don't know what F-Zero is, it's what Captain Falcon is from like Smash Bros. That's what most people know Captain Falcon is from Smash Bros. So there you go. He's actually in a racing game, and it's really, really fun. It's like a future racing game. And you go really, really fast in these spaceships, and you like knock people over and stuff, and it's really fun. So it's pretty cool. So that's good.
Some new games that were announced.
Yeah, new games. So Mario Kart World, like I said.
Yep.
Donkey Kong Bonanza, which surprised me.
Interesting.
Which is really interesting because when they announced this, they did the trailer, and I don't know if you got the same vibe as me and everyone else, but they showed just the environments, the 3D environments, right, of like the levels. And so I was like, oh, 3D Mario. It's the sequel to Mario Odyssey. This is going to be awesome. And then they faked everyone out and did a Donkey Kong game. And this Donkey Kong game is listed for $70 minimum. And Nintendo, you are high if you think anyone's going to pay $70 for a Donkey Kong game. I'm sorry.
Whoa, hot take.
If it was called Mario, yeah, maybe. But no one's going to pay $70 for a Donkey Kong. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, some of the other new games that were announced. Kirby Air Riders, which I guess is a was a game on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, it was already a game that's being like redone.
I had never heard of this, so
I hadn't either, but Kirby fans are absolutely rejoicing. Yeah. So, good for them.
I like Kirby. So
yeah, it's a cool character.
Okay, here's the next one. They called it Drag and Drive. It's like a wheelchair basketball game.
Yeah, I saw this.
It's kind of like, it gave me the same vibe as like ARMS. It's to like showcase the motion kind of thing. And, they're using the Joy-Con to do the wheelchair, the wheels, and like shoot the basketball. It actually looks pretty cool. So kind of a little sort of a tech demo-y type game for the Switch 2. Speaking of tech demo-y type games, there's going to be a tech demo game called Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Party. Not free.
Wait, really?
Not free.
How much?
I don't know yet, but not free. They said paid. Said this will be a paid game for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Because I think Nintendo Land was like a free one that came on Wii U.
Yeah. Everyone mentioned that.
One.
Yeah, everyone brought that up.
I like Nintendo Land.
I did too, because it was free.
Yeah.
But certainly wouldn't pay any money for it. But yeah, so that's happening. Drag and Drive actually looks pretty cool. Here's another one. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So we're getting another Hyrule Warriors game. That's pretty cool.
All two fans just let out a cry.
Yeah. I mean, those games, like, man, they come and go.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's because it's based off Dynasty Warriors is the actual franchise, right? Okay.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Well, it's the developer. So there's
I see.
Yeah.
But that one looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's the next 3D Zelda game that's been announced.
I guess. Sure,
for that.
Technically.
And then we got some crazy ones that dropped, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So IO Interactive, the people that make the Hitman games.
Yeah.
First, they announced that Hitman World of Assassination is coming to Switch 2. Hooray. And then they finally officially announced Project 007, their James Bond project, which was rumored for a long time. And I am very, very excited about it because I love the Hitman games, and that type of game, it would be perfect for James Bond. Like, it's just so perfect.
It's so good.
It's that and John Wick are the two games that IO should make. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for this.
John Wick's a little less stealthy though. That one's more like gun run action.
I don't think you would play as John Wick. You would probably play as an assassin in the world of John Wick.
Continental type thing.
Yeah, like something like that. Cool. But I'm super excited for Project 007.
I was super excited about that. And the fact that it's coming to Switch, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty crazy.
But I mean, that makes sense. The first FPS game I ever played was GoldenEye 007 on the Nintendo 64.
That does make sense. Which is on NSO. There you go. All right. Now the last one, a FromSoft game was announced on the Switch 2 called The Dusk Bloods.
Sorry, could you repeat that? Did you say
a FromSoft game on the Switch 2?
On the Switch?
Oh, by the way, Elden Ring's going to be on the Switch 2. Forgot to mention that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. It's
that's actually kind of a big deal.
It's called like Tainted Edition.
Tarnished Edition.
Tarnished Edition.
Because like from the game.
Right.
Yeah. So that's cool. Elden Ring's coming to the Switch 2. No Night Rain, just Elden Ring, which I guess makes sense because you probably require a robust online for that kind of thing. But the Dusk Bloods was announced. And speaking of multiplayer games, it is a multiplayer focused game, apparently.
What is the Dusk Bloods?
The Dusk Bloods, yes.
So that was the FromSoft console exclusive.
Yeah, to Switch 2.
To Switch 2.
A FromSoft game is exclusive to Switch 2.
And if you watch the gameplay, watch the trailer, huge Bloodborne vibes.
Yeah. I actually thought it was a sequel for a split second.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
It's more of a spiritual successor. It's different.
It's just the same vibe. I think that's
the same vibe.
Yeah.
And if I'm Sony, speaking of Nintendo and Sony, if I'm Sony, I'm kicking my behind right now. I don't know why they've dragged their feet on releasing a Bloodborne 2 Sony console exclusive for so long. But I think FromSoft was finally like, if you're not going to let us make it, we're going to go to somebody else and have them make it. And Nintendo was like, sure.
Well, it's actually a little different because Duskbloods is a PvPvE game. So it's multiplayer focused.
Wild.
So it's not really like Bloodborne. It's just kind of the same sort of setting, I guess. And you also play as a vampire. So
you play as a vampire.
Hence Duskbloods. But yeah, first of all, what do we think about it being locked onto Switch 2? I don't like it. I mean, it's a FromSoft game. I don't want to play a FromSoft game on a Switch. I don't know. That's just me personally.
You can put it on the dock.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. It's a personal preference for me.
I don't think the Switch is powerful enough.
I wasn't impressed by the resolution of that gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
I didn't think it looked that great. And FromSoft makes beautiful games. And like, I don't want to play a game that's downgraded by such a good company. You know what I mean? It'd be like we saw Mortal Kombat on the Switch. Mortal Kombat's a really good looking game, but then it came out on the Switch and it looked awful, you know?
I mean, even now, when they announced that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are getting like upgraded for that,
which I'm very excited about.
I've already seen people, I think it's at Video Game Con or VGC that's happening right now. They've already had people play the Switch too.
Yeah.
And they've had some gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom.
I've seen off-screen gameplay of like a camera showing.
And they're like, this is how it should have been when it released.
Thank goodness. Like, honestly, that was the one bad thing about Tears of the Kingdom. Now it's a perfect video game. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I was like waiting for that during the Switch 2 announcement. So I was happy to see that. I'm not happy that you're going to have to pay for that upgrade, even if you already own the game.
I mean, even on Sony, it's like a $20, $10 upgrade.
Sometimes. But
sometimes it's free. I think Destiny was free.
But I already paid $10 extra for Tears of the Kingdom, Noah. They priced it at $70 instead of $60, remember? Remember when everyone forgot about that?
Well, you're about to pay for 20 more.
Yeah, speaking of. All right.
Let's talk about it.
Hold on. Let's talk about what we like, because I think there's a lot more we don't like. So let's talk about what we like first. I am excited. I am Cody, and I am excited about Mario Kart World.
There you go.
And,
my turn?
Yeah, you go ahead, Noah.
My name is Noah, and I'm excited for 120 FPS. On Switch games.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm excited for 4K while docked. I'm excited for that. I did just get some news that I'm not so excited about that I just saw right now. The battery life's about half of the Switch one. It's going to be about 3 to 6 hours of playtime.
That doesn't surprise me because in the trailer, they're like bigger screen, faster FPS, obviously.
LCD screen.
LCD, but the same thickness, which means the battery
hotter
is most likely not expanding.
Yeah.
So it's probably almost the same battery if I had to guess, which is why it's shorter, because it's just a bigger screen that's having output.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a little different because that battery came out like 2017 or something. So it's going to be newer, but
you'd think they'd update their hardware, but
they updated a little bit.
This screen is in 1080p. Noah, the last time I played a game in 1080p was that wasn't on a Steam Deck, was I think on the Xbox 360. So
are we getting into what we don't like now? Is that what that
let's
is?
do it. Okay. Let's do it. Let's rip into them.
It's crazy that it is LCD and not OLED.
We didn't even get into the big thing.
Yeah.
These games are going to be priced at $80.
$80.
80.
Mario
Kart World is retailing at $80. The physical copy is retailing at $90. The digital copy of Donkey Kong Bonanza, the new 3D Donkey Kong game, is retailing at $70. The physical copy is retailing at $80. My goodness. So
the audacity.
The audacity
is kind of crazy.
And you had the audacity to tell me you want me to pay $20 more for a resolution that is 2 generations behind the current generation. We're playing at 1080p. Bro, my computer plays 4K native.
When you dock it, it's 4K HDR.
Maybe if the game supports it.
Mario Kart World does.
Oh, great. $80.
$80.
$80.
$80 is crazy.
Here's the other thing. I think this is a big mistake on Nintendo to make specifically Mario Kart $80, because when the Switch came out, it was in a very unique situation to where you were forced to, as a Nintendo fan, migrate your entire library from the Wii U to the Switch, because you could not bring any of the games to the Switch. Yeah, it was
a brand new system.
This is different.
Yep.
Mario Kart 8 is still out. The Switch 1 is still out. People are still playing Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. Is Mario Kart World going to be good enough to make people stop playing Mario Kart 8 that you don't need to stop playing and migrate over to the Switch 2 when you could, in theory, and they haven't announced this yet, but you could, in theory, play Mario Kart 8 on a Switch 2 anyway? Are people even going to buy Mario Kart World?
I think they will be able to, because it sounds like they said certain games will be backwards compatible.
I could see them excluding Mario Kart 8 solely to make people buy Mario Kart World. Yeah,
probably. I mean, this is the most money hungry release I've seen in a while.
Dude, I said this since Tears of the Kingdom came out when they charged $70 for this. I said, watch out. I swear, watch out. This is going to start a whole new thing. Now, here we are, $80 video games.
I mean, can we even talk about $450 for the console? in my
I'm
opinion,
actually not even that mad about that.
I'm a little mad about that.
It's a little high. I think it's just a little high.
The PS5 is $500.
Agree. Yes, I agree. It's the same price as the PS5, which is 4K all the time.
yeah, and not 256 gigs. And
mine is what, 500? Yeah,
that's got to be the smallest. Yeah, it might just be a terabyte now.
750 actually, I think, is more.
Yeah. This is. Yeah, I don't.
Everything about the Switch 2.
450 without OLED.
Yeah, that's with an LCD screen.
That's what knocks it.
You can get an OLED Steam Deck for I think 500.
Yeah,
or maybe a little less. I think mine was 450, 500. Yeah, and I got like the middle of the road kind of one that was a little more expensive than the base, but.
And that bundle pricing, I mean, if you're going to get it, you just might as well get the bundle.
Here's the problem I have with bundles, all right? Because this is going to happen all over the place now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, these games are priced at $80, right? I guarantee you this is what's going to happen. Mark my words right now on the Gamer Guild, April 3rd, year of our Lord 2025. Listen to me right now. I guarantee you this is going to happen. They're pricing these games at $80, right? Which is, everyone agrees, is outrageous. It's more than a PS5, Xbox Series X PC game, which runs at higher specs. It doesn't make any sense, right? Everyone is on the same page that this is bad. I haven't seen a single person defend Nintendo about this. Everyone's angry. Nintendo knows this. They're going to come out in the next couple months, I guarantee you, and say, we've heard your concerns about the pricing on our games. So what we've decided to do to mitigate this is offer Nintendo Switch Online members exclusive pricing at $60 and $70. So back to normal pricing, but only if you're a Nintendo Switch Online member, because they're going to try and get everyone to migrate into their system. And then they're going to slowly raise the price of the Nintendo Switch Online membership. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. Just watch. It'd
be smart.
It sure would. It'd be bad for the consumers, which is why they're going to do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It really is disappointing that this is kind of the direction they're taking. Because in my opinion, before this, I thought Sony was like turning into the cream of the crop, very exclusive in the console space. Whereas Xbox is kind of like trying to do almost like an open source thing. You're like, oh, get it on Game Pass. Everything's on Game Pass. You can play it on your Xbox and your PC. They're trying to like diversify. PlayStation is still kind of in that exclusive market where they're like, oh, we have the PS5. Now we have the PS5 Pro, which I thought was kind of not really needed.
Well, now Digital Foundry's coming out with stuff that's saying it's pretty good now. Pretty good.
So. Apparently.
But it's also $700.
It's
so no
$700,
thanks.
Which is like, that's where I was like, that's a little much.
Too much.
To be fair, it is cheaper than if you would get a gaming PC that probably give you similar or worse performance. So they have a market for it. And I'm like, okay, fine. Your market is families and children. You're Nintendo.
Here's the deal. I think Nintendo made a big misstep in this pricing because I think they forgot to consider that they actually have competition this time. They did not have any competition when the Switch came out. They only had competition from the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Yep.
But they had their own niche market because it was a hybrid console.
Yeah, there were no handhelds.
There were no handhelds except 3DS, which Nintendo owned.
Right.
Now there's handhelds. They have competition. Now there's better handhelds.
Yeah.
The Steam Deck is way better than this. I mean, my goodness.
You can't play Nintendo games on it.
Oh, no. But you can play all the Steam games on it.
I think they're just really banking on their
guess what? By the way, you didn't hear it from me, but if you have a computer, you can play the Nintendo games, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just saying.
For sure.
And after all these prices, I'm not saying I'm going to encourage you to do that, but I wouldn't feel so bad.
We'd understand.
Wouldn't feel bad about it.
We'd understand. Yeah, it's just too much. And it's not enough of an upgrade from what I saw in the trailer.
It's not an upgrade at all from in my opinion.
Where I was like, this justifies it.
It's an upgrade from itself, but the upgrade from itself is still years behind the industry.
Don't they have a Switch OLED?
Yes. And you know what's so funny? The Switch OLED, if you trade it up, is worth $175 towards the Switch 2, which is an LCD screen from GameStop.
How much is the Switch OLED? On these
300, 350 maybe. Let's see.
Well, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't get it.
And okay, let's see. Switch OLED price $350. Wow.
$350 would have been amazing. Now that might have been a little low if you're talking about like Switch 2.
What did we say when we did this before? We had this conversation on the podcast.
I think I said like 350, 400 I thought was too much.
I feel like I said 400. I feel like 400 would have been good. 500, yeah. Man. 450, yeah, that's a little too high. 450
and then you add tax.
Right.
450, you add any game.
Any game is $80
Yep.
or $70, whatever it is.
You get the bundle, it's $500.
Yep.
So
now you got to get, there's accessories and stuff. There's
Yep.
$50 webcam. By the way, they added game chat for the first time in 2025.
it looked horrible.
It looked like, I thought it was a Discord integration.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great, they have Discord. That would have been better.
Yeah,
because then you could have used Discord on anything. But no, they're going to tie you to just the Nintendo game chat, which is going to be terrible. And the webcam, by the way, looks awful. It looked like it was in 720.
No, it's
not
good.
Not good. I have a 4K camera that's less than $50. So no thanks. I don't know.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, we're talking about disappointment, but here's one good thing I saw. Super Mario Party Jamboree is getting a Switch 2 edition.
It is.
And they're like adding a bunch of content that looks pretty cool. But then it goes back to the problem of, am I going to have to pay for this?
Oh,
Here's another big question I have, Noah. What's Metroid Prime 4 going to be priced at now? Now I'm wondering if I'm going to even buy it.
Here's the bigger question. What is GTA 6 going to be priced at?
Oh, Noah.
Huh?
100.
Tell me that.
$100.
Gotta be.
Calling right now.
If I'm Rockstar and I saw them do that, and I'm like, oh, they get to do it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo has done something very dangerous yesterday.
It's a new precedent. They just reset the market.
A new precedent with this pricing yesterday, and it's going to be very bad for consumers.
It's like an NFL quarterback, renegotiating his deal. It's just that's the new standard.
Man.
Unless something cataclysmic happens.
Unless nobody buys the Switch 2.
I just don't see
there are two situations in which that would happen.
how they're going to sell so many units. I mean, the Switch 2, the Switch.
You don't need a Switch 2 as badly as you needed a Switch 1.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody already has a Switch.
Everyone already has a Switch, and you don't need the Switch 2 to play portably anymore. When's the Xbox handheld going to come out?
I think next year.
Next year? Okay. So they already have ROG Ally. They already have the Steam Deck.
Yep.
They already have, what's the other one? Lenovo Legion.
Mm-hmm.
There's competition within that space already.
Razer, I think, has one.
Yeah, Razer does have one, yeah. Man, so it's kind of just dumbfounding. Why would they do this? It's
just because they
think they can.
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make money. I don't think they're going to make as much money, though.
I
just don't see it.
So there's two reasons it won't make as much money. Is because one, everyone already has a Switch, like me.
Yeah.
Everyone definitely already has a Switch games. So you don't have to pay $80 if you just want to play Mario Kart and don't care about the new Mario Kart, you know? Which does happen in other consoles and other games.
I mean, it's even happened with Nintendo. People still play the other Mario Kart games on their older consoles.
Yeah, exactly. Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Same thing, 100%. Like a new Smash Bros. Game comes out, I'm not going to feel the need to buy it if I can just play Smash Ultimate on the Switch.
Exactly.
Excuse me. Yeah, but man, got me all bothered over here, man. Jeez.
I know.
It's just this was really bad yesterday. This is really, really bad. It started off so well, and it was like, look at all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, the games look really good. At the end of the day, the specs are behind the industry standard.
Which they were when the Switch dropped as well.
They were, but it was a hybrid console.
Right.
So it had a niche market. Now it doesn't. So it really needs to step its game up a little bit, you know?
I'm still just absolutely livid at the no the no OLED. That baffles me. Baffles me. I'm like, because they already have the Switch.
It's literally a step back.
They literally already have the Switch OLED.
Yeah.
So
what made it such a problem that they couldn't have the OLED screen? That's just crazy.
Battery life? They already made a bigger dock because it's a bigger screen.
Yeah.
It has a fan in it. It's like
the battery life is worse. It's probably the same battery. So man, there's a Nintendo Treehouse going on today and tomorrow. We're gonna get some more information.
And there's a Mario Kart World Direct.
Mario Kart World Direct, I think today. I don't remember. Today or tomorrow.
It's in April, yeah.
Okay.
And then
pre-orders are open Wednesday.
Don't pre-order it, guys. I mean, it's your money. Do what you want.
Do what you want, but it's just.
What was the last
Nintendo?
What was the last game we warned about not pre-ordering? Star Wars Outlaws, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh, okay. That's because they had the weird pricing tiers. That was different.
Talk about weird pricing tiers.
That's true. Yeah, but Star Wars Outlaws, it was more like, don't buy the deluxe edition.
Don't buy the $120.
That's really stupid. Don't do that. Like, this is like, don't buy it. Like, I don't know. Ugh. I can't tell you not to buy it.
Of course not.
I do this kind of as like a hobby job sort of thing. So I'm gonna pre-order it because this is like what I do. And I'm really mad about it. But,
I'm not going to pre-order. What?
God.
I never owned a Switch, so.
Really?
I never owned a Switch, and this turns me off of getting a Switch 2 tremendously.
You can probably get a Switch now for.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Once it drops in the summer.
There you go. There you go.
The only game I would play on it would be probably Tears of the Kingdom, to be honest with you, in 120 FPS.
Yeah.
It was sick.
I mean, they did say Nintendo Switch Online members will get those upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for free. So, and that's what also led me to believe that they'll do this pricing thing with the Nintendo Switch Online in their games, because they're already sort of doing that. Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. They're going to try and migrate people to this Nintendo Switch Online.
Get them out of here, bro.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, but some sad news, but we'll see some more information. Hopefully it's a little bit better. We're going to take a little break next week because it's spring break for us in Augusta, Georgia, because we got to take spring break for the Masters. It's kind of our Mardi Gras. So we got to get out of here. Yeah. So that's all we have for you, the Gamer Guild podcast today. Noah, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Audience, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
The Gamer Guild podcast is recorded at Augusta University's Pamplin TVC and Podcasting Lab. Our producer is Jackson Garner. The Pamplin TVC and Podcasting Lab supervisor is Jasmine Garcia. Music is by Ethan Balducci. The opinions stated are that of the individual and not Augusta University.